Hello and welcome to another basketball podcast. I'm your host, Justin Coben, and I'm joined today, as always, by Marco Amendola and Stephane Rind, appearing on the pod for the third time now. Today we're doing NBA Smash or Pass. What that means is we're going to be going through 3 long shot bets for teams in the NBA on this pod. The next pod will be doing 3 long shot bets for players in the NBA, and the other 2, beside me here, Marco and Stephane, will be smashing or passing them if it's my take, and I will be smashing or passing with the other person here if it's someone else's take. Before we get going, please like the video and share it with a friend. Also, subscribe to our channel. We're at 21 subscribers right now, and we're a little stagnant, so got to get that number up. Let's get it to 25 by the end of this episode. Okay, so my first take is that in back-to-back seasons, the Los Angeles Lakers will win the NBA Cup. The odds on FanDuel is 35-1 plus 3,500 for the Lakers to win the NBA Cup. I feel like it's kind of a crapshoot, and I feel like LeBron kind of gets up for those types of moments. Like, some teams don't take it as seriously. Maybe like the best teams in the NBA, like the Celtics, won't be as much of a threat to the Lakers, I feel. So I feel like a guy who gets up for those types of events, like he did the Olympics, he's going to not want to let anyone else take the NBA Cup from him. Maybe he'll want to win it for 2 years in a row, and it's going to be a very pride-driven thing for him. That's just kind of how I feel about it. What do you guys say? Smash or pass?
You want to go, Marco?
I'll smash that.
You'll smash that?
I can get behind that.
Why are you smashing?
I was considering going down this path. You know, looking at the in-season tournament odds. I mean, all of these teams are above our range. Like, the Celtics are the favorite, and they're plus 500. So any team could have been a hot take by this classification. I was thinking, like, maybe the Pacers get hot, and they lost in the finals last year, and they kind of just make this their little comeback story. I'm trying to find the bracket. So the semifinals were Bucks, Pacers, Lakers, Pelicans. I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot. I feel like, honestly, the Lakers make sense. Like, I just feel like they're the type of team that I'm not super high on this year. But it's a LeBron thing, right? It's a legacy thing.
It's
back
a LeBron
to back.
thing.
Like,
yeah.
You could see them just for the meme winning it again. And I feel like there's no reason to vote for any of these teams. Like,
yeah,
I don't really think the Celtics care about it.
I feel like exactly like 5 plus 500 for the Celtics versus plus 2,500 or 3,500 for the Lakers, who won it all last year. I feel like that's pretty. It should be more even than that. What do you say, Stephane?
I don't know, guys. It's not because I don't like the Lakers. I'm a big pass on this just because of the format of the NBA Cup. Because like we've seen in March Madness, one seed's losing early, and when you have like a 1-game playoff, anything can happen. I actually feel pretty good about the Lakers this year having a bounce back year, but I actually do like the odds, but I'm gonna pass just because personally I stayed away from the NBA Cup. I honestly have no leans at all for that because I'm just like, I don't know. Do people really get up for it? Like, LeBron already won it last year, so I'm like, my thought process is like, there's probably not going to be a repeat champion. I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah. Maybe they do feel a sense of pride, defending their title, but I don't know. I still think the NBA Cup is kind of just like an afterthought for a lot of the NBA players. Like, I don't think anyone loses sleep. Like, I don't think the Celtics are beating themselves up that they lost to the Pacers and, didn't even make it to Vegas. I think they were perfectly content winning the championship. So for me, it's a pass. I think the NBA Cup, just the format, the single elimination, even if the odds were like plus 10,000, I mean, actually, now that I say that,
yeah, but, I mean, geez.
I'm going to pass on that one. I don't think I like it.
Hey, the Nets are plus 25,000. That's solid. Maybe they just get hot. Yeah.
No.
Just looking at their bracket. I don't know if you looked at the groups, Justin, but the Lakers, there's 5 teams in each group. So they're with the Thunder, the Suns, the Jazz, and the Spurs. So kind of they're right in the middle there. Thunder's tough.
Yeah. How many teams get out of the group? Is it 2?
It's
two per group. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough draw.
It might be the winner and then like one of the second places. Because I think the knockout stage is 8. So they either have to win or be the best 2 seed of the 3 West groups. If that makes sense. So that's, I think anything can happen.
Yeah. I'd argue that, like, to Stephane's point, like, passing, maybe LeBron's already got that notch on his belt, so he maybe just doesn't care about it anymore. But we'll see. I just felt like it was good odds, good value. But I can kick it over to maybe Marco if you want to give your first smash or pass for a team.
We'll do my most boring one first. I was looking at teams in the East. We talked about it. The middle bottom of the East is kind of weak. There's kind of a clear cutoff between the playoff teams and the non-playoff teams. So just kind of going through the bottom of the East, we have the Wizards, the Nets, the Pistons, the Bulls, and then we're kind of in this Hawks, Hornets, Raptors territory. I think Raptors plus 590 to make the playoffs is kind of spicy, and what that would take is one of the teams established above them, like the Pacers, the Heat, the Magic, to just, I guess, maybe lose to the Raptors in the play-in. Like, it seems like the Raptors are in that 8, 9, 10 range. Like, I don't know. I kind of believe in Scotty. We've talked about quickly Scotty. The Raptors have a real team. We all know that. I just feel like of the teams in the bottom, I think they're better than the Hornets. I think they have the best shot. The Hornets are plus 330 to make the playoffs, and the Raptors are plus 590. And it seems like not terrible odds for me. And so, yeah, I guess that would mean make like the official top 8, not just the play-in. I feel like that, to me, just going through both, is the one that stood out for me.
I'll let Stephane, the Canadian, take this
one. That's a huge smash for me. And actually, the one that I had, and it's actually slightly better odds, so I guess we can just do them in tandem, is the Raptors to win 40 games was plus 610. So not even to make the playoffs, just like because the East may be more competitive, but just to win 40 games is plus 610. And I saw the same thing. I actually saw that Charlotte had better odds, which I thought was very bizarre. And I feel like that shows me that there's significant value on the Raptors, because I think right now they're heavily slept on. And I actually looked it up too. They were the sixth most injured team last year. So I think they just had like no continuity. They also traded away OG and Siakam during the season. So like they just had a really hard time gelling. And then whenever, Quickly would be playing, Barrett might be injured or Scotty might be injured. So I feel like people forget that I feel like 40 wins is very achievable. They could still go 40 and 42. They could still have a losing record and still clear that line. And I think that's very doable because their starting lineup could be potentially Emmanuel Quickly, who I think is going to have a huge jump this year in a starting role. Then you have either Bruce Brown or Grady Dick. And Grady Dick actually showed a lot of improvement shooting last year. He actually had a lot of confidence. And then you have RJ Scotty and Jakob Poeltl. And Poeltl is also a very solid center. So I just feel like that starting 5, I think it could go toe-to-toe with the Heat. I think the Pacers, the Magic, those teams I think are a bit clear. But I think that 8th spot is where I'm like thinking they'll probably get to. So for me, I'm like, I think there's huge value. And I know we were doing long shots. The last thing I'll say, their line is set at 30.5 wins, and that's plus 100. For me, that almost feels like a lock. Like, I hate to say that word, but I would smash that big time because I feel like they're going to surprise a lot of teams this year. If I had to guess why the sports books are doing this, their division is extremely competitive besides the Nets because they have to play the Celtics frequently, the Knicks, and the 76ers. So I can see that maybe being a reason why. But I think Scotty's going to have a huge jump. He had a huge jump last year. He started getting like triple doubles regularly. And I just think like the supporting cast is much better. I think. And last thing, Darko Rajakovic, the coach, it was his first year. I think he was figuring things out. I think he's a really bright young coach. So I think there's a lot of momentum going in this year, and I trust in Masai. So yeah, huge smash from me. Justin?
Smashing both of them, in tandem. And the reason I don't know, I think I like Stephane's like slightly more, but it's tough because I could see a world where they do finish with like 38, 39 wins, make the play in, and then kind of like beat out one of those like, teams at the bottom in that like the Heat. Maybe I could see them beating for that, like, that last play in spot. I'm lower on the Heat than most people, but maybe another team who's in that mix too. So yeah, I agree with both of you on that one. I think it's really, really good value there. Marco and I both in our previous pod, the over-unders, we were both over on the 30 and a half. 30 and a half is the number?
That's the number. That's 100.
Yes. So we were both over that. The other guy, Laugh, was under. So we stand beside you. We don't have any naysayers here, so we can all just take our Raptors to the moon.
And the other thing too is like if Siakam and OG were still on the team, right? Like if they were going into the season kind of like last year where it's like, oh, these guys might be traded in season, I'd feel very differently. But I feel like they've done all their moves. Like this is the team that they're going to go with, and possibly like Bruce Brown will get traded at the deadline, but like there's going to be cohesion. Like there's no like trade rumors hanging over them. Like I feel like this team can now like settle in and be like, okay, we'll find our roles. And I just think that'll do wonders too for like, again, like a guy like Grady Dick, his confidence. It'll do wonders for Emmanuel quickly. Like they'll quickly find their roles, I think, no pun intended. Quickly. And I think I just think this team's going to surprise a lot. I would take Marcos to make the playoffs because I feel like they're going to fall somewhere in the 7-8 just looking at the standings. But I could potentially see them maybe losing in the play-in. So that's why I'm like 40 wins feels like a little bit better, but the odds are higher, but I could see going either way.
And yes, Stephane, also, we both have some money on Emmanuel quickly to win most improved player at 25-1. So I'm a believer in his game as well. Very improved player last season.
We've only put small amounts. These ones that I feel like the Raptors, that would be one that I'd put like $50 on, like I would put like a big amount on it. So, but yeah, we do have a little on IQ.
Yeah. I tried to keep it, I mean, for my players, not to spoil anything, but mine are a little bit more long shot than my teams. Besides the Lakers one, that was my longest shot one. So my next one is Oklahoma City with the most regular season wins is 6-1 plus 600. It's pretty valuable. The Celtics are there at like plus 150. People are expecting them to just pretty much run away with that. I just believe that they're probably the most depth-wise talented team in the NBA, maybe aside from the Celtics who are missing Porzingis at the beginning of the season, or for probably a big chunk of the beginning of the season. So the Thunder just feel like the cream of the crop in the West, and if you can get them at 6-1, I just feel like it's good value. Marco, what do you think? Smash or pass that?
We talked a little bit about it. Celtics have had a long year. Porzingis is going to be out maybe most of the regular season. We don't know what their big man depth's going to look like. I think they're going to have even more of a target on their back. I could see them. I mean, they could still be the 1 seed and have less wins than the Thunder. And yeah, it just seems like the Thunder are the most complete team in the West. And it's hard to bet against them being the 1 seed. So I think it's logical and good odds. And it's not like a crazy, like I think what are they, the second highest win total after the Celtics?
When I looked at it earlier, which is funny enough, it was the OKC was plus 600 and the Knicks were also plus 600 or plus 700. And since I've looked, which was, only a couple hours ago, OKC is now plus 500. The Knicks moved down to plus 800. So I think the market's kind of still stabilizing on these teams. So maybe not at plus 500, but I like it a lot still.
I am a pass, and I'll tell you why later. But For me, I stayed away from the West when I was looking at that because I feel like though Denver probably took a step back, I feel like the West is going to be an absolute gauntlet this year because I'm looking at all the teams. Minnesota, I feel like is only going to continue to improve and gel. And then I think people are sleeping on the Clippers. They still have Harden and Kawhi, and there's a big if. But if Kawhi is healthy, still a very good team. The Phoenix Suns got better with Tyus Jones. I expect the Lakers to have a huge bounce back season. The Sacramento Kings got better. Golden State is probably due for a bounce back. And then you have Dallas, the Pelicans, Houston. So I just think this year the West is going to be a gauntlet. I feel like it's going to be kind of what like last year was, where you had Oklahoma with 57, Denver with 57, Minnesota with 56, and they were all fighting for the 1 seed. Whereas in the East, Boston had six. Boston had 7 more wins than them, and yet they're still finishing first in the West. So I just think that's going to repeat itself next year, and I think the West is going to be a lot tighter, 1 through 8. Whereas I feel like the East, they're going to be able to feed on some of the bottom feeding teams like Charlotte. I don't know why the sportsbooks think they're going to be good. I don't trust LaMelo Ball. Washington's going to be bad. Pistons are bad. I just think there's a lot of bad teams in Nets. I think there's more opportunities in the East than there is in the West, and that's why I'm going to pass on your.
So is your take that the Knicks are going to be?
Well, if you want me to segue into it.
You might as well.
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of gave it away.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be the Knicks actually, and it's kind of you guys talked about it on a previous pod. It's not conducive to playoff success, but Tibbs will play his guys 40 minutes in the regular season. They play to win every single game in the regular season. There's no load management, and they just added Mikal Bridges. I just think that the Celtics ultimately, I think, are the better team. I mean, there's no really debating that, but I do think the Knicks will win more games next year. And the reason I do believe that too as well is because the Celtics were extremely healthy last year. Like I know Porzingis missed some time here and there, but like almost every team in the East faced some sort of major injury. The Knicks, dealing with just like nagging injuries to certain players. They didn't lose any, Julius Randle. But then they also lost like OG for a bit of time. Like I feel like, injuries were really them. Philly lost Embiid. Hoping that the Celtics will get, injured, but their one Tatum, one Jaylen Brown, injury missing like maybe a couple months to like, I think seriously, in trouble and fighting, for like the second, third seed. So, I just think the Knicks. I think the Knicks are due to be the leader of the NBA, and that's at plus
800 now.
Plus 800 now. Well, even
Wow.
I just think that's good for them because I feel like
I got you.
Next year is their season. That's like they want to prove that they went all in on Mikal Bridges, giving I don't know what was it 5 first-round draft picks. So I feel like this is their year to really make a statement. So yeah, Knicks for me.
Marco, do you have a read on the room for either of those teams?
That's a good point, Stephane. Like the Thunder could have 48 wins and still be the 1 seed in the West, and then you could have like 4 teams in the East with more wins than that. So it's, I guess if you're taking that plus 600 on the Thunder, you're having the belief that they're going to be a full competitive team all year, and just they'll be able to like win consistently on the road against these tough teams in the West. So it's putting a lot of faith in them. And the Knicks, I think both everything you both said was logical, and they kind of remind me of like the Knicks and the Thunder kind of remind me of each other, like just a bunch of dogs. Like obviously Caruso and Hartenstein are the big ads for the Thunder, and they're just winning players. Like they're going to be a tough team. And obviously Bridges is good. So it's like, I think both make sense. And I would say after those two, like there aren't many teams that I would even sprinkle anything on for this. Like I trust OKC more than probably Denver, Minnesota, etc. So I think those two are the kind of the ones you would target. And like you said, like one Celtics injury would really impact them. Like without Porzingis and another starter, I mean, yeah, they're not going to be a 60-win team. So, yeah, I would smash both of what you said.
I'm looking at the smash. I said it earlier. There's a couple other teams. I know you said you wouldn't touch anyone else on the board, but Cavs, Magic. You're talking about how bad the East is, and 50-1 on the Magic, 40-1 on the Cavs. Like, pretty spicy to me. And the Suns would be another one I would potentially look at. Just, if things break right. And we've talked about how Bud's a regular season coach, and they finally got the depth of the roster down. I could see them being really, really, really good, just with how their star level talent. And then the Kings is another one, getting DeRozan, and just I would sprinkle on all of those teams: 40-1, 50-1, 41 on the Cavs, 50-1 on the Magic, 50-1 on the Suns, 75-1 on the Kings. Like, if you're really thinking long shot, maybe a couple bucks. Like, I think it's within the realm of possibility. I think fading the Celtics is the play there, though, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I believe in the Cavs and the Magic, just not that they won't be good, but for the 1 seed, I'm not sure I'm buying that much in stock into them, only because I do feel like the Bucks, the 76ers, the Celtics and the Knicks, like, I feel like they're clear cut ahead of those two teams right now. Or, I look at the Pacers too. I like the Pacers a lot. But there's just like a clear difference between those top 4 teams. Like, I just don't see the Magic or the Cavs cracking those 4. Like, I could see an argument for the Bucks at plus 1,500 because now they have some continuity with Lillard and Giannis. But yeah, I don't know. I know you love the Magic, but I don't see that. I would pass. If I was going to put a sprinkle on a long shot, I would maybe do the Pacers, just because after the deadline last year, they had a top 10 record in the NBA. They pushed the Celtics pretty hard, even though they got swept, or did they get one? They got swept, right?
The Celtics?
Yeah.
Pacers?
But they played the Celtics very hard, and I like the players that they've got. They're all young players besides maybe like Siakam and Miles Turner. They're all growing. Like, they didn't even have Benedict Mathurin during the playoffs, and that's like pretty big weapon off the bench. So that would be the team that I would sprinkle on as like a really long shot, but otherwise I feel pretty confident the Knicks at plus 800 now. I feel like that's priced really well. That'd be pretty hard to pass up.
Well, you talked about how bad the East is, so I think picking your favorite, maybe third or fourth team in the East isn't a bad move for a couple bucks.
Yeah, I think for a little bit, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
For the West, though, I wouldn't touch the Suns.
It's fair.
I wouldn't touch the Kings. I think that it's going to be a gauntlet. Like, like even this past year, like the Clippers at one point were like dominating. They were in first place, and then I think they ended up in fourth. Like, it's just so many like teams run hot, and then they start losing because the competition's so good. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm not buying anything in the West right now.
Marco, any comments there? Or do you want to give your second?
I'll give my second. I think this is a fun one. How do we feel about Rockets plus 900 to win the Southwest Division? We look at the other odds.
That's my other one. That's my last one.
All right, good. So
yeah.
That's just looking at the odds. Mavericks are plus 105. Grizzlies plus 270. I know you're low on the Grizzlies. Pelicans plus 360. That roster's a mess. Then you got the Rockets plus 900. Spurs plus 2,400, which they're not ready. But the Clippers, for example, in the Pacific are the 5th favorite, and they're plus 650. So that's better odds than the Rockets. To me, I'm not high on any of those other 3 teams in the Southwest. Particularly probably the Mavericks. It's surprising to me that they're that much of the favorite. I know, yeah, they made some good moves, but I don't know. I feel like the Rockets just 1 to 10 have the most talent out of maybe any team in the West, but certainly any team in the Southwest. And I think they were quietly 41-41 last year. They were pretty bad on the road. I think they're a year wiser, a year more mature. They got Reed Shepherd, who quietly might just be NBA ready already. So I don't know. I think they're a good team, and we've praised Udoka a lot on here. And That seems like 9-1. I mean, they were close to winning it last year, and they weren't even ready. So, like, I don't know. And yeah, I just think the Pelicans don't love the roster construction. Grizzlies, yeah, who knows what they're going to be. And then Mavericks, I don't know. I think the Mavericks take a step back.
Yeah, I might as well just because it was my other one. I might as well just talk about it now. Obviously, I'm smashing that as well. My last take. But yeah, I think it's a testament to Marco and I have talked about before. I'm very low on the Grizzlies this year, especially, and then we've talked about the fit with bringing DeJounte into the Pelicans. Just him kind of struggling on defense at times for the Hawks last season. And they don't really have a center there. I guess it's Tice, and then Yves Missi would be the other guy off the bench. It's just a lot of unknown there. The Mavs brought in Clay, and that's a huge X factor for them. Losing Derrick Jones Jr., their defensive identity, bringing Clay over, who has not looked like himself at least the last couple seasons with injuries, and then just having age and a little bit of regression. So yeah, I just don't love the top of that division personally, and I think we all could just form the Rockets fan club at this point because Stephane and I have talked about how much we like the Rockets. Marco and I have talked about how much we like the Rockets. So I feel like Stephane's going to join us on the smash, but we'll see.
I don't know. This one's tough because I like the Rockets to make the playoffs. And
who do you like better in that group?
And you guys you're making compelling cases. The only one that I'm really hung up on is Memphis.
Yeah.
Because I feel like recency bias is a real thing. Like I feel like we forget how good Ja Morant is, and they were like either the 1 or 2 seed the year prior to last year before he got hurt. I don't know. I mean, I would say pass just because if I was going to pick, I would pick the Grizzlies because you guys' logic is completely sound. I'm a bit of a fade on the Dallas Mavericks right now. I feel like Luka just carries so much of the burden and Kyrie to an extent too. And I just feel like I don't know, Klay Thompson, I'm kind of low on Klay Thompson. So I just feel like they're kind of stagnant. The Pelicans, I think we talked about this, Justin, bringing in like anytime I feel like a team brings in a big star, I feel like it takes like the whole season to gel. Like I still think they'll make the playoffs, but I feel like it's going to be, moments where maybe they like lose 5 in a row and then they win 5 in a row. I think it's going to be quite inconsistent. So then there's the Rockets. So I will say,
At the odds,
you know what?
though.
Just to ride the wave, I will smash. But then the Memphis Grizzlies make me nervous, guys, because I was just looking at their depth chart real quick before I pass it back to you guys. Ja Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Zach Edey. And they could go smaller and put Jaren at the 5 and have like Gigi Jackson at the 4. That's a pretty good starting lineup. And then on the bench, they have Luke Kennard, Derrick Rose, if you feel like Derrick Rose still has anything, Vince Williams, Gigi Jackson, or Zach Edey, whoever's on the bench. And Santi Aldama, I forgot about Aldama. They've got a pretty good team. So I feel like I know you're low on Memphis, but they're going to be – it's going to be between, I feel like, Houston or Memphis. Those are the 2 teams I would say are most likely.
Yeah, if it's between them 2, though, Stephane, if it's between them 2 and the Rockets are like 3.5 times better odds than Memphis, I'm just saying, at the odds, it's worth it. I'm not saying the Rockets are like sure enough, like they're gonna win that division, but just at 9-1, it's good value.
I feel like they'll make progress, and I'll pass over to Marco after. I feel like they'll make progress this year. I just don't know, like those are good teams. Like even though I'm maybe a little low on the Mavs, they're still the Mavs. They still have Luka.
Yeah.
And the Pels, they're a mess, as Marco said, but they still have like incredible amount of talent with like McCollum, BI, Trey Murphy, like all these guys. Like they're extremely loaded too. So I don't know. And then the Rockets, I feel like they have what's their rotation going to look like? I'll pose that question to you guys because I'm going to pull up their depth chart now, but it's like, where do you fit in Reed Shepherd when you have Jalen Green, or where do you fit him in with Fred VanVleet, or Jabari Smith. Like I just don't where you like. There just feels like there's too many guys. Dylan Brooks.
It's a luxury having so much talent. They can stave off injuries, etc. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Hopefully, I trust Udoka to figure that one out. What do you think, Marco?
I would agree. I would say the biggest threat to this is probably the Grizzlies in my eyes, just because, we've seen this core before go hard in the regular season, and Smart's a winner in the regular season, and seemingly Edey will be ready day one to be a real player. So I think they're going to come out hot. The Pelicans, it's interesting. Like, DeJounte Murray has become really hated all of a sudden. Like, he was kind of a rising star in the Spurs, and then now just two franchises that he's left just hate him. So for some reason, I feel like the Pelicans are going to implode. And, I mean, Zion's looking good, though, Justin. I know he's,
Ooh, I know.
He's looking slimmer than ever. But, I would say, the Grizzlies for sure, to me, like, they're super deep. I just feel like you look at that 10 for the Rockets, they're too good to have that. Yeah, it's crazy that 9-1. I don't know. I mean, that's a good point though. Like, what is their rotation going to look like? Is Thompson going to start? Is
probably not.
Probably not. So you got
probably Dylan Brooks still.
Yeah, but then you have Cam Whitmore who took a huge step.
So you're thinking it's Sengun, Jabari, Van Vliet, Brooks, and
Jalen Green.
Oh yeah, Jalen Green. Oh God, yeah, Jalen Green. I always forget about him. I have that anti-Jalen Green. So then you got Thompson, Reed, Whitmore, Steven Adams, Tari. That's a stacked bench. I mean, that bench should be better than plus 900.
I know.
I mean, Tari's so good. So
how many games do you think that bench would win? Like, if that was a starting five in the NBA, how many games do you think that bench would win?
Probably a lot.
Like 30.
I mean, Thompson could just be nasty. Like, they could be so good right now. Shepard could just be like, he could just run away with Rookie of the Year. I don't know. They're going to be fun, and they have some decisions to make.
Reed and Edey, I think, are tied for the favorite for Rookie of the Year. It's interesting.
Yeah. I just don't know if Edey's going to play enough minutes.
Agreed.
I don't know what he's going to do statistically. But yeah.
Mark, who's up next? Stephane, I think it's your second one, right?
Well, the second one was the Knicks.
Your third one, sorry.
Yeah, third one. So I went with, now I guess the threshold was plus 400, but I just feel like this one's just too good to pass up. Like, it just feels like a smash. And it was the Boston Celtics to repeat as champions next year at plus 300. I know what I said about the regular season, that maybe they'll have an injury and maybe I expect that the Knicks will finish at the 1 seed, but I still think the Celtics are like, well, some teams got better, like the Knicks and the 76ers. Like, I'm floored. Like, I'm blown away that Brad Stevens was able to sign everyone, and obviously the owner's like probably just trying to lock everyone up so he can sell the team for more money. But like, the fact that they haven't lost anyone, like, I thought they were going to have to get rid of KP after the season. And the fact that like Brad Stevens found the cap space for all of them and they're running everyone back, I feel like they're still head and shoulders above every team. Like, last year, they 5 games, 4 games, and 5 games. Like, I don't think any team got significantly better that they're going to make up a 3-game gap. So I just thought, like, at plus 300. And the other thing too is, like, if you're like, okay, the West maybe is going to be like a tougher opponent this year, the Celtics to win the Eastern Conference is plus 145. The fact that that's plus money is laughable. I mean, that should be like minus 200 in my opinion. So, yeah, that's my third one. I just feel like the value is there for the Celtics.
What do you think, Marco? Smash?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Just looking through the teams at the top, like, I don't know if the Thunder are ready. I just don't love any other team. Like, I know that sounds oversimplified, but like, it doesn't feel like any other team's ready to kind of take the reins. I've been low on the Sixers and the Bucks. The Knicks are right there. I would smash that, and I would say, yeah, plus 300 seems reasonable, and yeah,
I'm
I
kind of
went a
scared.
completely different direction on my last one, so you're gonna laugh at what I said, but I like Celtics there.
Yeah. So I was looking at this earlier and I was thinking I'll pass, but I agree with Marco where I don't quite like anyone else enough where it's like I would bet on them to win the finals, I think, at this point. And I don't think anyone else is odds is good enough for me to bet it. So I would smash it. I wouldn't put a lot of money on it. Just I think the NBA is relatively wide open, but I think that the Celtics are pretty significantly like the best team in the NBA still.
Would
The
you
Nuggets would
smash?
probably
Would you
be
smash heavier though on the like them winning the Eastern Conference?
yeah. I think that's pretty. I don't trust the Knicks come the playoffs. I think they'll be a regular season juggernaut, like you said. I don't think like that take earlier about the Knicks being the overall best record in the NBA was bad. I like that too. I definitely picked them over like the Sixers. We're all kind of low. At least Marco and I are low in the Sixers. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard for me to find another team in the East that I think could really beat them. I think it would really come down to just like injuries beating up the Celtics on their own for the Celtics to kind of miss out on being the one seed in the East, or not the one seed, being winning the Eastern Conference. I think the Nuggets kind of scream value at 9-1 for that. Wouldn't bet it though. I don't think.
I mean, the last thing I'll say too is like I feel like if they open the season, let's say the Celtics open the season like I don't know, like 20-4 in their first place in the Eastern Conference, like I guarantee you that the odds will be like in the minus. And maybe not for the championship, but definitely for the conference winner. Like I feel like I just feel like there's real value now because it's like people are
Agreed.
expecting a little bit of a hangover, which could definitely happen. Don't get me wrong, but we're talking about the playoffs. Like I'm not really worried about the Celtics during the regular season because like I don't know. Now Tatum's got a ring. Now Jaylen Brown's got a ring. And like I was thinking about it more too. I was like, oh, maybe they have nothing left to prove. But then I just feel like the world is just giving these players more motivation than they already need. Tatum doesn't get played by Kerr in the like Olympics, and now I feel like Tatum has something to prove. Jaylen Brown didn't even get picked for the team. He gets like fueled by that stuff. Like he's gonna come and probably like I don't know, kill everyone in sight for like the whole year maybe. I don't know. Like he seems extremely motivated too. So I'm like I mean, the Celtics have a lot to prove, I guess, apparently. So I could see them very well being repeat champions and actually quite easily. Which, as a not a fan of the Celtics, I really hope that doesn't happen because I found the playoffs quite boring once we got to like the Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals. But I could see it happening quite easily again. Unfortunately,
Yeah. So I always every single season, at least in football, I'm always looking for the right time to bet on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. There's like a moment where the Chiefs will like fall off a little bit, and then I'll bet on them, and I get it at really good odds. And so it's really about value hunting, like when the best value you can get on a team is. And I feel like the Celtics, even if they struggle to begin the season, this isn't going to move away from plus 300 further. I feel like it's only going to get more, they're going to become more and more heavy favorites, especially how the NBA works, such a long season. Whereas the NFL, like a couple weeks can really swing your season. Basketball is not really the case. So I feel like it is the right time if you are to bet on the Celtics now does feel like good value. So I would agree with that.
Marco, I think you have the last take.
Yeah, you
I
got
have,
one left, right?
oh
Because I just did
God,
mine.
yeah.
I'm ready to laugh.
There's been a team that I've consistently kind of dumped on over the past few episodes. They have the ninth. They're the ninth favorite right now to win the NBA Finals. So just going through the teams, we got Celtics, Thunder, Nuggets, Sixers, Knicks, Mavericks, Timberwolves, Bucks. I'm thinking Suns plus 2,400 to win the finals. And just part of my reasoning is I just don't like a lot of the teams ahead of them. So OKC, yeah, they're solid. We know that. Nuggets, I think they're going to take a big step back. I agree with you, Stephane. I think Jamal Murray is overrated. I don't love this team.
It pains me to say that.
He listened. He listened, Stephane.
Yeah, I did
He listened to our podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, Canadian. Sixers, Knicks. I don't know if they're going to win a championship. I just feel like the Suns, quietly, one of the darlings of the Olympic team was Devin Booker. And I feel like he is just a winner. And I became kind of a Booker fan over the past couple of weeks, like a lot of people watching and just following the vibe of the team. Durant, I'm a fan of. I know he was also on your list, but there are questions with the defense. We know like a lot of questions with the rotations. We love the Tyus Jones ad, like Plumlee. I mean, they have Ryan Dunn to just throw out there. Like I don't know. I just feel like it's gonna come together. I don't hate that. I feel like that after that, then it's like Lakers plus 3,500. I think I would not touch that. Magic. Like I feel like this is the cutoff for me where I'm like, I could see the Suns making a run. They have the best record in the NBA since 2019, ahead of Celtics, Nuggets, Bucks. I don't know. I just feel like this could be the year Booker becomes that superstar. Durant gets a ring. The more I think about it, the more I like this team. And if the Celtics fall off, then, I mean, are the Suns really that much worse than the Mavericks? Like, the Mavericks are plus 1,000. I think plus 2,400. That's crazy.
They're better than the Mavericks.
They're better than the Mavericks.
So, Marco, you and I, it's so funny. We've had, like we were, like, so low on the Suns. I feel like we've kind of risen at the same time, which is so funny. Like, we both were anti-Suns at the beginning. We were saying how like they're going to implode and they're going to trade away either Durant or Booker. We did our mock trades like a month or two ago, and now they brought in Tyus Jones and Plumlee, and they've just been making all of the right additions to the team. And like, I just feel like they kind of are going to have a fire under them this year, especially with Bud bringing a new coach in, kind of cleaning that up a little bit. He's won a finals. I know people shit on Budenholzer in the playoffs, but I'll smash it. I'm not going to I wouldn't put a lot of money on it. Would it be 25-1? It does feel like they're baking in the talent of the Suns a little with that number. Like the Lakers in the like there's like they're kind of like hype teams like the Lakers and the Suns. So I feel like it's a little bit baked into the number. Like I feel like it should be more in like the 3,000 range, but it's still good value in my opinion on a team that like some of the teams that are above them. I could see them being better during the regular season, but real title threats, there's very few in that like top echelon in my opinion. Like the Celtics, the Thunder, I think are in the mix. The Nuggets, I don't really see the Sixers, don't really see the Knicks, don't really see the Mavs, don't really see the Timberwolves, maybe the Bucks, maybe the Suns. I think that's really like about it. I mean, you guys can agree or disagree on any of those teams, but there's really good teams and then there's title contenders. And I think the Suns are title contenders. Stephane.
Oh, this one's tough. I mean, certainly I still would lean Celtics, but I do kind of agree with you guys that I don't love the teams in front of the Suns, especially in the West. Like the Thunder feel good, but I agree with Marco. I'm not sure they're ready. It feels like they're still a bit young, and like I kind of was hoping they would make a bigger splash. I like Hartenstein, but like a Lowry Markkanen, I would have liked to see them really get like another superstar because like I feel like this season would have been with the West kind of up in the air. This would have been the kind of the season for them to go all in and cash in some of those draft picks. So yeah, I'm like iffy about the Thunder, iffy about the Mavs, and yeah, the Nuggets I feel like are kind of due for a step back. The Timberwolves I do feel like are going to keep gelling and I feel like will be solid, but again, they have question marks. And then you have the Phoenix Suns. So I'm like, I do like where you guys' logic is at. I think the reason I will pass is because
have you smashed one yet?
I smashed the Rockets. You convinced me on that one. I'm just going to pass on the Suns because I just think new coach, new system. I'm not expecting it to all click right away. So like we're probably looking at them finishing maybe like between 4 and 7, or maybe I highly doubt the play-in, but maybe. And we just talked about how much of a gauntlet the West is. So it's like if they don't get the 1 seed, I feel like now they're playing like Luka in the first round, or they're playing the Pels with like Zion, or like they're playing a very good team in the first round.
Of course.
And I just think like in order for that to be a smash for me, like I would want to think like, okay, like they're going to come into the regular season and get the 1 seed. And even if it was still Vogel, I don't believe that, because I feel like Kevin Durant's always getting load managed. Bradley Beal's getting load managed. I just feel like they're the kind of team that's not going for the 1 seed. They're going for playoff success. So maybe kind of talking myself into it, but I need to see it before I believe it. For me, I feel like they're all smoke and mirrors. Because last year I really thought they'd do something. And like, it's no shame in losing to the Timberwolves, because the Timberwolves beat the Nuggets, but like to get swept, I feel like that shows they are a lot further than we think they are from being title contenders. So I like
they might be.
I'd sprinkle it, but I don't love it.
I think that's a smash, though. If you would bet it, it's a smash. I don't know if you're understanding.
It's like there's a gun to my head and I have to bet it, like just because it's for fun.
It's a long shot. It's a long shot bet. It's not like we're like, oh, put my life on the line for Suns 24-1 to championship.
The purpose of the segment is to find bets that we think are likely, like not just long shots, but like things that we think that are actually going to happen. I just don't know if I see the Suns. If I was to do something, I'll tell you what, I'll pass on the NBA Finals, but I'll smash them to win the Western Conference is plus 1,200. I would smash that.
That's
okay.
Fair compromise.
I like it.
I think a knock against them, like you said, is they did get just rolled by the Timberwolves last year in the playoffs. They just got punched in the face. Like, not a great look. Yeah. Losing to kind of a younger, maybe newish team to the playoffs. The year before, they lost to the championship Nuggets. They've had some tough playoff losses. The year before, they were the 1 seed and then had that like 40-point loss to the Mavericks. So it's like, I don't know. You look at championship teams too. Like sometimes they have that 4 to 5 year progression of just increasingly heartbreaking playoff losses, and then they finally win it, like the Bucks. So maybe to have that on their side. And another thing, my last point, they have just psychopath owners. So I feel like they're a team like at the trade deadline, or like they're gonna buy out some vets. Like it feels like they could add pieces. They've made logical moves, so I could see them adding like random vets too, just to solidify their depth. Because I mean, their bench is definitely maybe weaker than some of these other teams in the West, but yeah. I thought it was a fun one.
I like
definitely.
It. You know how I feel about Kevin Durant. I just don't. I don't trust him. Like Kevin Durant being on a team should never get swept. I don't care how bad the supporting cast is; they should never get swept. Like that's crazy. So I don't know. And then also like in the finals too, against France, like I feel like KD was like invisible the fourth quarter. It was like thank God for Steph Curry. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm iffy on Kevin Durant, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy that the Suns just made the finals before KD arrived with like Chris Paul and that team, like Mikal Bridges,
just like Cam Johnson.
And they've been kind of, I know it's kind of insane, but yeah, my point there was I feel like the Suns kind of are missing one thing, and you could say Royce O'Neal is this. I don't think he is. Just like they miss that. They're missing that like defensive identity piece. They don't quite have it. Maybe they'll use what's left of their assets to kind of get that piece. You could say Mikal Bridges was that piece, and they flipped it for Kevin Durant. If they could have done that trade with like all those first-round picks and not given up Mikal Bridges, I think we might have seen a ring from them, in the last couple of seasons. And then, yeah, I thought, to your point, Marco, about them getting punched in the face by the Wolves, I felt like for a second that they got punched into a rebuild, and that was the direction we were going in. But then they've just like quietly made all of the right little decisions this offseason, and I just kind of love what they've done. And I'm a buyer again, which is funny to say.
Yeah, and I agree. I think their playoff performance made me lower on them and kind of left a bad taste in my mouth the whole offseason, which probably prompted some of the things I said in previous episodes.
Yeah, I know. We got to scrub them from the internet if we win it all. It's all got to go away. You guys have any like honorable mentions for the team's part, or I don't have anything personally, but
I do. I'm actually gonna go with the Lakers to win the Pacific Division at plus 400. I just feel like that's really good value because I was looking at all the teams, right? We've just talked about the Suns. I have, my reasons to believe that they might struggle a bit out of the gate because it seems like it's hard to find, especially when you have three stars and Beal, Booker, and Durant. It seems like it's hard to find like the right cadence of like, okay, like who's going to get the ball in what situation. Like I know they've played together last year, but I still feel like with a new coach, there's going to be a feeling out process. So I'm not high on them winning the division. Sacramento, I really like Sacramento. Like I love them that they're actually relevant again, but I saw people saying that DeRozan is like, is a huge liability defensively, and I feel like they have Keegan Murray, but I just feel like that's really their issue is like they can score a lot, but they can't stop anyone. So I have some question marks about the Kings. And then it's the Lakers followed by the Warriors at the same odds, and then the Clippers at the bottom. I just don't know if I believe in the Warriors too, like to have regular season success. I think they might do well in the playoffs if they get in, but yeah, I don't know. I'll open it up to you guys. But I just feel like at plus 400, I feel like if there was ever a division that feels wide open, it's that one. And I mean, we've talked about LeBron. I feel like if it's going to be his last year, he's going to go out with a bang. He's certainly not going to like load manage or not try until the playoffs. I feel like he's going to go all out. And I don't think it's his last year, but I feel like the Lakers are due to win this division.
Marco, you want to pass first, or should I?
Yeah, I guess that division's the one. Even if they're fourth in the division, it's probably going to be like 5 games behind whoever's winning. So it's like it makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just not a believer in them at this stage. And as much as I like AD and LeBron, I don't know if it's a smash. It's somewhere in the middle of smash and pass. It's kind of just like but like walk away, But I guess for the sake, it's a pass.
It's a no,
Marco. Marco. A no bet is a pass.
That's true.
That means you're not betting it. So yeah.
He's being polite.
So yeah. Well, I think being in the middle, just like a no bet, is that's probably the right take on it. But I just like all of the teams.
I feel like a pass would be like I bet the opposite. Like I feel like that's like I would go completely opposite direction. Like a no bet is like I like it, but I don't feel confident.
I just meant like I'm passing on the bet. Like I'm just not doing it. That's what I was thinking, but I guess it's open to interpretation. But my take for this one specifically, I like the Suns too much. I like the Kings too much. Marco's kind of swayed me on the Warriors a little. And I like the Clippers sneaky too. Like, I don't know. It's just a tough division. And I probably, if I was to bet it, I would probably pick the Suns or the Kings. I mean, the odds are baked in their favor, so that's not a hot take. But I think those are good teams. Like, I like both of those teams quite a lot with their additions. And the Lakers haven't done much this offseason. Besides, if you're a Dalton Connect guy, LeBron's only a year older, AD is only a year older, just not really a buyer in them.
My number 2 in that division is actually the Clippers. Because
I'm not against it.
I feel like the Kawhi, they still have a really good team, and they're going to play in a new stadium now. I feel like, I don't know, maybe that just like gives them a little extra juice. They're like, we finally have our own place. Like, I don't know. And then also, like, I'm not rooting for this guy because he's definitely not a good person, but Porter Jr. is kind of a nasty, nasty player. So they also picked him.
I don't know. I don't know what we're going to get out of him this season. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, a lineup of James Harden, Terrence Mann, Derrick Jones Jr., Kawhi Leonard, and Zubats. That's
good.
I could see that being – and, like, we are so quick to forget. Kawhi Leonard, when healthy, is, like, a top 3 player. Run where they won the championship. They should have lost to the 76ers. Like, the 76ers were clamping them, beating them. Kawhi would just drop a casual 40 and just carry them to a win. Like, and we talked about it too. He did it against the Suns maybe 2 years ago when Paul George got hurt. And then he eventually got hurt, but he was dropping like 40 points on Kevin Durant. And I'm like, we forget how good this guy is. Like, this guy is disgusting. But I don't know. He didn't play for Team USA. I don't know. I don't know what's up with his knee, but if he's healthy, that's a good team. I would say.
I'd probably bet the Clippers won before the Lakers won. To be honest with you,
I have another one too. If you guys want to debate that one, real quick.
One quick stat. Sorry, just looking at Kawhi right now. His career percentages: 49.9 from the field, 39.1 from three.
Ooh.
86 from the free throw. Like, he's just a career 50, 40, 90 guy. He is nasty.
He's so good.
He's a good guy to have on the underrated list. But it's just he's been so off the court. But yeah, he is when healthy, it's like a sneaky top 3-4 player.
Mm-hmm.
It's just injuries with him. Talent has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
He's a stud, no doubt.
No, I couldn't agree more. I feel like Kawhi, especially now, no Paul George either. Like, he's the guy. I mean, Harden's definitely a good number 2, but like, he's the guy. So I don't know. Maybe that motivates him. Who knows? But the other one that I was looking at too, and I was like, I feel like you guys are going to disagree too, but I really like the Pacers to win the Central Division at plus 350. I just think this team is gelling. I feel like you saw it in the playoffs. Granted, they got some injury help against the Knicks and the Bucks, but I really feel like this team is coming together nicely. I think Nembhard is getting better. Halliburton's getting better. Siakam's only going to help them. I feel like I really like the players on this team. I feel like, and like I said, they had the 9th best record after the deadline last year. And so I feel like as they continue to gel, because Halliburton wasn't available, he was injured for some of those games. Like, as they gel, if they are healthy, I could see them having a better regular season record than the Bucks and the Cavs. So curious what you guys think.
I would, that's a smash for me. I'm low on the Bucks, so easy smash. We haven't even seen Jarris Walker. Yeah, I think that they're a fun team, and I could see them being really, really, really high in the East standings.
Yeah. For me, it's a pass, but with that, it's because of my belief.
I knew you like the Bucks too much.
Incorrect. It's because I love the Cavs for this season. So I think the Cavs are the team in that division. I think plus 210 is value for the Cavs. But the real bet, the best bet you can make, Laugh and I were discussing this actually. This is so funny because you inspired me to think about what I was thinking like a couple weeks ago. So there's an exact top 2 in a division. There's a bet on MGM. And it's the Cavs to get first and the Pacers to get second in that division. Guess what the odds are on that?
Plus 2,000?
It's only plus 1,200. But Cavs first was like plus 225. And if you don't believe in the Bucks, the Bulls and the Pistons aren't doing anything. So if you believe the Cavs are going to win, it's either going to be the Bucks or the Pacers behind them. So instead of betting the Cavs at plus 210, just take Cavs and then Pacers, 1,200. Like, I like it. You could probably get the same for Pacers, Cavs, or better.
Can I ask what are the odds for Pacers and then Bucks?
Pacers and Bucks. Okay, you don't want Pacers then Cavs.
I'm fading the Cavs. I feel like they're so inconsistent too.
Yeah, I'll find it for you. Yeah, Pacers, Bucks plus 450.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in terms of value, I like your bet, but there's no way in my mind the Bucks are 3 in that division. I feel like 2 is where they'll be, but I don't know. We'll see.
Pacers, Cavs is plus 1,200. If you want to do the opposite of what I said.
Wow.
The Pacers more.
So it's the same.
That one could be a possibility.
That's surprising.
Again, I just don't think
I know. It's crazy. I love it. I'll pass on yours, but I'll do mine.
That's why we're doing this segment, right? You know, you're not going to agree on everything.
Yeah. I think I ended up smashing most of everyone's take except your honorable mentions. I think those are the only 2 I really passed on. But yeah, if you guys have nothing else, we could just wrap there. Any other comments?
There are so many future bets that we could do like 45 episodes of this. Like, there's so much just looking through everything. So it was a fun topic.
Yeah, it was hard to bring it into just 3, but we used our time well, I think. So yeah, we can wrap there. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. This is another basketball podcast. I was always joined by Marco Amendola and Stephane Rind. Please remember to like the video, share the video, and subscribe to our channel. It means a lot if you're over on Spotify, if you're not watching us on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review. Add the podcast to your feed, like it, also share it with a friend. It would mean a lot. Thank you both so much for joining me today. And thanks everyone for listening. Take care.